Here we go. One more time. It's the last time. This is the last. This is the last.
This
Bates.
is the last one. What?
What
is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I am J-Lag, and I'm here with
N-Bea.
And we are doing this for the very last time.
Not Recap Rewind, but Recap Rewind Bates Motel.
Yeah, I probably should have said that first.
Yeah.
Last episode. Aired last
series
night.
Finale.
Woo.
Last night. It's called The Cord. Just right off the top, before we get into the episode.
Yeah. N-Bea.
I know.
N-Bea.
Just from the top, we got what we wanted.
Yes.
Very amazing series finale.
Yes.
It will go down in probably the TV books of like top 10 best finales ever. They got through almost everything that we wanted. They covered
everything.
Everything just was beautiful. It was sad.
Yeah.
But we got closure, and like I think that's how every finale should be, so
that's what
I'm gonna miss it for sure.
Every television show wishes it could be, is like a final full series from beginning to end, with a beginning of the story to the end of the story, and the way they wrapped it up is just freaking phenomenal. So let's get into the episode. So we're left off right off where we left off the last episode,
in the car with Romero.
Romero's like, take me to the body to Norman. And at this point in time, Norman is still mother. And so he's acting all like fucking weird and shit with Romero in the car. And then it cuts out to the
woman
sheriff.
Was so annoying. The girl in the front, the driver.
She's
like, oh, please,
Rebecca or whatever.
Don't kill me.
She's like,
I'm like, okay, shut up. Like, you're gonna die. I don't care about you. Like, it's a serious finale. At this point, you don't matter.
Yeah, you're waste. But also let's get back to her character at some point in time, because I was like, okay, this bitch just walked all the way home. Like, literally nobody helped her.
5K run. She couldn't call an Uber.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so they're driving to the body in the middle of the woods.
Yep.
And I think at one point in time, it cuts to the sheriff at the sheriff's department, trying to figure what the fuck just happened. So they're looking at
Sheriff Green was like, what the hell?
Yeah, they're looking at the footage and they're like, oh shit, like put out an APB, let's get everybody on this shit. First of all, that was like the first and last time we ever see the entire fucking police academy come through the entire episode, and
like
it was
the entire series.
Yeah.
Like, real talk.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
It was interesting to me that she was more like, F Norman, I want to just find like this reception girl.
Right. But she didn't do either of those things.
Yeah.
The entire episode.
Yeah, she didn't.
So I was pretty disappointed.
It's just funny how irrelevant this whole cop thing became.
Yeah.
In the last two episodes. At the very end. Like it just did. They were so
okay. Since we're in it, let's talk about that. Why? What did you think about that? Were you okay with that whole situation?
Yeah, I think so. I think we talked about it before. Yeah. Like we even said like, I don't want to see him go to jail. Yeah. I don't want to see him go to a psych. Like, it's just kind of like anticlimactic to see him do that. Like at the end of the day, like he killed all these people. Like to see him in the system, I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't have been as epic. But
I guess what I'm saying too is,
and so it makes sense that Romero like stole him.
Yeah, but at one point in time, I think we were talking about like, why do they bring in this new like girl sheriff cop? She was like killing it in terms of like booking him. I don't know. Like right at the end, you're like, she must have some sort of purpose. And at the end, she like really she had nothing.
At the same time, she did like prosecute him. Like she did go after him. Like they did do a little bit of that. So I guess enough. That's enough. I don't know. But yeah, they made her seem bigger than what she was gonna be, and then she didn't
show up at the end.
But whatever, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. There were some moments where I was like, like later on in the episode, there are some moments where I was like, where the hell is this freaking unit? Like, where the hell have they been? I thought they were going to come for sure. Like every second I was like, they're coming. It's funny because at one point in time, she says in the beginning, and I think they had to put it into the script because then you'd be questioning it the entire time. Like, make sure you go to the Romero residence and the Bates residence, but they never show up, or they showed up too late.
We missed it. Like, or we didn't see that scene. Yeah, that's what I assumed.
Okay, so anyway, it cuts to Dylan, like right at the end of that whole sheriff scene. Dylan comes to the police department and he gets told by the sheriff, like, oh, by the way, your brother got freaking kidnapped. And like Dylan's like, what the fuck? How could you guys let this happen? What's wrong with you guys? And she's like, that's our priority. We need to go like find this like next like receptionist. Yeah. So then it cuts back.
He's like, are you gonna find my brother? She's like, nah. I don't really care about him. She's like, I care about the random girl.
Yeah.
That hasn't got promoted in like 5 seasons.
Poor girl.
She's at the same job.
So then, so they're driving, and then finally Romero gets like, they get to like the one point. Norman's like, stop here. This is where it's gonna be. You gotta turn in. We gotta like drive more for like 10 minutes into the woods. Also, that was a side thing that I was like, just in general in this world, that there's like a road that goes into the woods like for 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I was like, whatever, because I'm pretty sure like I had assumed that they walked, because like, you know, like when but
he did drive to a certain point, remember, because he took her body out of the trunk. True. And like, so he probably did walk a little bit.
Okay, anyway, whatever. So they drive up, they roll up in there, and then he kicks Rebecca, is her name Rebecca? I think it is. Her out of the car, and then he's like, "Girl, you gotta walk home. I'm taking your phone right now because I can't be traced.
Please don't kill me. He's like, okay, just go.
Just leave me." And he takes a car with Norman, and then he drives. And she's like, "Man, I'm gonna get hypothermia." He's like, "You got a coat on."
Like, he's letting you leave. Just freaking leave, girl.
He's like, "Run faster." It was like, it was pretty tight. And then
I love how Norman, though, in the car, he was sort of like turning on like his sass to Romero, because he was like, oh, he's like, what if I'm lying?
Yeah.
Like, what if I'm not even telling you that she's like,
and he's like, and then he's like, well, what is it? What's in it for me to tell you the truth?
Exactly.
Anyway,
because you're gonna kill me anyway.
Because you're gonna kill me anyhow.
But each time, like, Norman like spoke back, like Romero just like knocked his face on the thing. I was like, yes.
He's like, shut the fuck up.
It felt really good. I was like, good.
Yeah, it's like that retribution. So we get to the body.
They walk to the body,
and then he's like,
it's
we're
under
here.
the snow.
And then he uncovers the body, and it was like a very this whole situation was super emotional. I mean, this is the last time that we see Romero. Spoiler alert, obviously. This is the last episode.
But it was also like, I was like, what are you doing? Like, he just letting Norman stand there. Like, he could run away.
Yeah.
Or like he could kill you, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah, and that's what I thought, the same thing.
But you know what? When you're looking at it from like above, you're like, he didn't care. Like, he found the body. He said goodbye. He wanted to die.
It's true.
He's not gonna make it out. They're gonna arrest him.
I guess his last point was to kill Norman. But at the same time, like, he's so distraught and broken by like seeing her body again. Like, it's just very, very depressing. Apparently, inside scoop, she was in that ground. I thought it was a mannequin, but apparently she was like there. They put on like blue lenses, and she's like, all I could hear is like my boys like bickering like little kids, like Vera Farmiga was saying that about like Freddie Highmore and Mans. And she was like, they were just like bickering like children about my like mother, about Norma. So it was like, she just
so I love that scene, and you know, at the end Norman comes and hits him over the head with a rock, and then they fight a little bit, and then he grabs Romero's gun and he shoots him like a couple of times. So Romero sort of, he doesn't die right away. He sort of like kind of slowly fades away. But he's like, to Norman, he's like, you killed her.
You totally killed her.
Like, you did it. And that last scene of him saying that, it's like, you better remember that you killed your mom. Like, what sick person does that?
Take that in.
And that's like his final word to Norman. And I would have liked to see more of like you know, Norma coming and being like, come to me, like to Romero. I know it sounds really cheesy, but like him seeing that like life they could have had maybe one last time as he's fading away, because they gave that to Norman at the end, but they didn't do that to Romero. So I was kind of like, meh, I want to see that last like goodbye.
But
together.
He does get his closure.
But he gets his closure.
He gets to see the body again, and then he's like,
and so he like fades. He like dies, and then Norman like kind of like books himself. He passes up, but then that whole moment of like, he realizes that,
that's
like,
what I thought was,
Norma shows up, she's like, I'm gone, I'm going now.
She's like, I'm done.
She's like, I'm done. He's like, wait, what? He's like, you can't leave me.
He's like,
she's like, yeah, I'm done now. She's like, you don't have to like hide anymore, like,
just be you,
you're good. And I think that's when everything started falling down for Norman, right? Because now he's like, holy shit.
I mean, it's been falling down for a while, but this is when like the mother switches back out. Now it's like Norman. Now it's not mother. His mother character.
Yes, you're right.
Is no longer
the mother
possessing her
gone
body.
Now. Yeah.
Possessing his body. It's not like the new one.
Yeah.
Like his normal self. So now he's coming back, and he's probably like in a bit of a state of shock, because like she's taken over for such a long time. You know, like the entire time that he's in jail, the entire time that he's probably even killed or even killed Romero, he's been in like the mother mindset. So like when she leaves, he's like, whoa, like where am I? Who am I? Like, what's going on in my life right now? And so he's kind of left out in the cold because he's knocked out, and he has a few dreams, and they were all very super emotional dreams as well. Like, he starts seeing himself And yeah, what did you think of all those like those little memory lapses that he had?
Remind me which ones he saw in that moment.
So I think in that moment he starts to see his past a little bit, and he starts talking to his mom again. But it's
was it the one where she's
it's the pilot, right?
She's looking at him
as a child.
She's like, we're gonna go to this new place in Oregon.
He's in bed, and he's like, what's going on, mother? It's the very first episode all over again. Yeah. And I loved, honestly, thinking about it again just gives me tingles, because it really takes you all the way back. It circles back to the very first episode where we're thrown into this whole world where, you know the mom just wanted them to have a new life, happy, and she's like, we're going to be happy together.
And I was reading a recap this morning, and they were saying how it just shows you the contrast of, wow, this is what their life could have been. Yeah. This new start, and now look at it, this dark and dreary, what had happened, lonely, sad world. And oh man, it's so sad.
It's interesting because I think the most tragic thing about this story is the fact that, if you look at that trajectory, it was their love that was going to keep them together, but unfortunately, based on the
love that tore them apart,
and ruined everything, and that's why she's dead, and that's why he's in jail, and that's why he's in this situation, is because of the love that they had together. So it's this very tragic love story between a mother and a son, and it's very, very sad to kind of see it all the way through. So anyway, then at that point in time, in all honesty, no shade, I felt really bad for Norman at that 100%, point. He's alone.
At that point, it's the end, right? And but the way they shot it too, they're cutting it up with the scenes of her driving them to the town, and then back to the present of him driving the car back home. Yeah,
but he's still having
while they're talking.
Yeah, he's having that conversation that they had. Yeah, which is heartbreaking, because you remember those things. In the very first episode, I remember that line that she mentions. This is the part when you say, "Mom, this is the best thing I ever." And he says it again, but as his season 5 self, and he's like, "Yes, I'm so excited that you're pulling me out of my life
making me
and
do this.
making me do this." And you remember those moments where she's like, "You're such an asshole, stop being such a dick, just enjoy this with me." It really, really did pull me all the way back to the first season, which is so insane. They did a really good job. And Freddie Highmore, this whole you're right, the switch between the edits, this clean, perfect, sunny world, all the way to this dark. He's his face is all beat the fuck up. He just got the shit beat out of him by Romero. He's driving this beat up car back, and it's that whole, and then it cuts to that scene too, when they roll up in front of the motel, and it cuts to her being close your eyes, get out of the car, close your eyes, open your eyes, and he opens his eyes, but now he's himself in this world. So in the inside the episode part, they talk about this a little bit, and they say how it's almost like he pressed reset on his mind.
I was thinking that too. I was he's starting all over again. Yeah. He's starting all over, and he's
thinking beginning. That he can do this again, the best, the way that it was supposed to be. Yeah. So he's starting from the beginning, and he's living his life. He's gonna take his mom back. Because even him calling
Dylan again, it was all that repetition of, this is how it actually happened. Let's start from the start again.
And this is how it should.
It's delusional, right?
Yeah. He's obviously going in full mental breakdown mode. Yeah. So he brought the body back to the house. Yeah. I didn't
realize he walked in. I was like, oh my God. He packed that shit up.
Yeah. So he carried her all the way up the stairs, and then he's like, "You rest, mom," / the dead body mom. And then he's like, "I'm going to open up the motel. Don't worry about it. Let me just pull off this police tape and just think that everything's okay." It was so insane to see it. And
then right then a car pulls up.
And a family of 3 or 2 boys and a mom come through. And we get a bit of a kind of moment.
So he sees this family roll up, and he's just watching them, and then they come. They're like, "Oh, can we stay here one night? We're just passing through." And he's like, yeah, come, I'll check you in. And his face is all beat up. She's like, "What's wrong with your face?" He's like, "I fell," whatever. Yeah. And then as the kids are kind of playing, she's like, "Dylan, stop." Yeah. And then he's like, "His name is Dylan?" He's like, "My brother's name is Dylan." She goes, "Yeah, whatever." And so he's seeing it now, and you're seeing it too. Yeah. This sort of that world, that was their world, like their mom, single mom. She wasn't even a single mom, like she was like on the way to go see like her husband in Washington, but he was like the mom taking care of the 2 boys, and like that whole family dynamic.
And he missed his brother, I think, at that point in time.
Yeah, for sure.
He was like, damn, I do have a brother, and my brother's named Dylan,
and my mom might not be here, but like I still have him.
Yeah, right? So like a part of him yearned for that piece.
Yeah, and so he called. So then like at that moment he
rings up Dylan.
He calls Dylan, and he's like, hey, like this was like just hard. Like after that moment, it was like really sad. It was just really sad. He goes, you know, we always wanted you, Dylan, to be a part of our family. Like, you know, you always will be. He's like, come to dinner.
Yeah, we're gonna have
what
dinner.
Did he say though? Did he say like with mother?
Yeah, he said mother's gonna be here. She'll be so excited to see you. And Dylan's like, okay, he's having a full
because first Dylan's like, is Romero with you?
Yeah,
and Norman's like, no.
He's like, who's Romero?
Who's Romero?
So he's fully back into that world.
Yeah, Dylan's like, okay, this guy's like, he's gone now. Yeah, but he's gonna like go see him.
So before that happens, because I think that happens like later on in the evening, like once he checks in the family. Okay. But in between that somewhere, Dylan gets a gun.
Right. So like he meets up with his old like friend.
Yeah, Remus or whatever his name is. Yeah, and then
he gets like a gun from him.
Yeah, so that's like, I guess, our goodbye to that particular character too. Like he's like, yo, here's a gun, see you later. Yeah. Like they didn't have to make it like that obvious.
I was waiting for him that whole time to be like, sorry about your dad.
Yeah.
Like that's honestly, guys, this whole episode I was waiting for someone to be like, sorry to hear about your dad, Caleb.
True.
And no one said anything.
Caleb is completely out of the situation. So like he never
knew about his dad being dead.
Finds out.
So that to me is a little bit of like a missed line.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I never really picked that up. But
nothing was said, so I was like, okay, whatever. Anyways, we'll talk about that towards the end. But yeah, so he gets a gun. So we're like, okay, cool.
Right. And then Dylan goes to a bar because he's like really fucked up right now.
He goes to a bar. He gets a drink.
And that's when he gets a phone call.
Well, yeah, he does.
That's when he gets a phone call.
Stupid woman's like lurking on my man. And I'm like, do not, Dylan.
And he's like, girl, I'm not in the right headspace to cheat on nobody right now, okay? So.
And as before, like she could even talk to him, like Thing calls him. Like,
he,
normal.
He like clocks her out. He's like, bye.
Yeah, he's like, bye, I gotta go. She's like, oh, okay. She's like, I just ordered a double, but fine.
I was getting to get real.
So then he answers that call. Even that scene was random, but like whatever. Yeah. Like the bar scene was random. But he gets a call and he's like, okay, I'll come through for dinner. Cool.
Yeah. And then Dylan has like a little like existential moment in the car right in front of the Bates Motel.
Yeah, so he pulls up to the motel.
Rolls up. And that you know, okay, so one of the things, so now it's nighttime, okay? One of the things that kind of like killed me in this moment, and I've already mentioned it earlier, but I was like, this is the moment where I was like, yo, where the fuck are the police?
Okay, so I assumed that the cops had already come by the house and they didn't see anyone, so they left. But at the same time, hello, you're looking for this guy who just like put a car in the front of the motel and like watch them. Yeah, like there was no sign of any law enforcement.
Like you have no one watching the house waiting for him to come back.
It was a little weird.
Come on, it was guys, a little weird.
Really? But I think at that point you're just kind of like, let's just end this show right now.
Yeah,
like let's just like leave our things, like our logic thing, and then just like get to that. You know, but
you're
right. Like,
but you know what? In all honesty, it did kind of linger all the way almost to the end of the episode, which is really kind of frustrating that like they never got there, because even when that final moment happens, I was like, who did it? Was it the sheriff that came out of nowhere? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, we'll get to that point too. So he invites Dylan for dinner.
Yeah, so Dylan like pulls up.
Dinner comes up, and then he has a phone call with Emma.
Before he like goes inside, he calls Emma.
And he has like a moment.
And this was like when like the waterworks were like going. And he was like, you know, I'm gonna go to dinner with Norman. What did he say? Like, I think he killed Romero. No,
I don't think so. And then she's like, what the hell is
happening? What are you doing? She's like, why would you go to dinner?
Call the police. Like, what's happening right now? She's like,
I don't care about Norman. He goes, yeah, but I do. He's like my brother. And she goes, do you have a daughter? And he's like, I know I have a daughter.
But do I have a wife?
But do I have a wife? And she's like, she didn't even answer. I was like, bitch, why?
Just get home.
And he's like, do you still love me? And she's like, I'm not going to give you like ammo before you go in there. Yeah. Like, that's not what I'm about to do. Don't make this like a moment
for us. Like,
just, but I didn't understand why she said that.
I think she's just frustrated, right? Like, this is Emma. Like, she's not about that like romantic bullshit. She's like straight to the point. She ain't about like that. Like,
I love
let's
that.
have that kind of like moment where like Dylan's more like this tortured soul who's had to like deal with all this shit all his life.
So cute.
So
he says, and it really did feel like a goodbye. And I guess they want you to feel that
sadness.
Of this he could die right now.
This could be the end of it. And I think at that point in time, it was a commercial break, and like tweeted the crap out of it. I was like, everyone's praying. Like, everyone please pray for Dylan.
Pray for Dylan. So then I guess right before he leaves the car, he sees the light on in the motel.
Yeah. And
then he goes to the motel. He opens the door. The mom's there. He's like, get your shit and get out of here now.
My brother's
And so
not well.
the mom like got her kids and like she dipped.
Right.
He like paid for like their hotel, whatever.
Yeah.
So like they dip. Now he's like ready to go and like finish the job.
Finish this.
It felt very like he's cleaning up house and he's gonna finish the job.
Literally cleaning house. So then he goes up to the house, rings the doorbell. Norman answers the door and he's like, "Oh my God, Dylan, so good to see you." It's like back to Norman. I mean, past Norman, obviously. Yeah. And he like gives him a big hug, and Dylan's like, he looks like starstruck
he's just like
he's stunned.
Yeah, he's stunned.
He goes through like a lot of his moments, I think, with Norman, like with this very like, I don't know what to think. I don't know how to feel right now. And I don't know. I've thought about the same thing like to a degree, but like, how would you feel if that was like even your best friend? Like going through that psychotic spell, like what would you know to do?
Well, this is the thing, right? I think it's important if you care about them to play with it, to go on along with it,
right?
So that you can get to them and get them help. But he's already tried it and he attacked him. Yeah. Like he physically almost hurt him. So now it's a different playing field. I would be scared to do that. Yeah. Like you don't know what he's gonna do to you. So it changes everything.
And so he walks him into the kitchen.
Yeah, so he gets into the kitchen.
And it's kind of crazy that you're saying that because literally the last moment that he was in that kitchen, he was literally lunging over and attacking him. So it's kind of weird that they're back in that exact
Well, people were wondering,
situation.
was the gun for him? Or was the gun to protect Norman from Romero?
Oh, I didn't think that.
Yeah, I knew it was for Norman, but some people were saying that it might have been like he wants to protect Norman too, right? Because Romero's like he knows that Romero's chasing him, right?
Right.
So
anyway, he gets to the kitchen. He's talking. He's like, "Yo, stop making dinner. We need to talk. You need help. You need to go home, like."
First he's like, "Mom's gonna be so excited that you're here,"
he's
and then
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dylan's like, "What are you talking about?" And he awkwardly points to like the dining room.
Yeah, that all kind of like falls. Yeah, that all falls apart pretty quickly. So like I think
Dylan's like, "What?" And then like he sees her from the back because he hasn't seen her yet, right?
He hasn't seen. Yeah, he thinks that she's buried.
My God, yeah, that's the first
when
time.
I saw him see like clock the back of her head, I wanted to yak because I was
what?
Like, oh,
and then he yacked.
Oh God, and he
like
literally
finally someone threw up from disgust of the dead body. Like, thank you.
Yeah, it was fucked up. It was so fucked up.
He like threw up on the chair. I was like, good.
Like the fact, because like taking the fact
he dressed her up, and
taking the fact that Dylan the entire time thought that he's talking about like mother in his head. So he's like, cool, I got it. You're like bipolar. You're gonna turn into mother at some point in time. Like I get it. You want to have dinner with me. Right. And then he's like, no, she's right there. And then he goes over and he's like, what the fuck?
And I think at that point he realized that no amount of help was gonna solve this kid.
You know, I think even at that point he said he still believes it because he's like, as much as he thinks that this man is full out hopeless, he cannot come to terms with the fact that this kid is his brother and he can't get him help. So he's, even to the very last moment, he wants to give him help. So that escalates really quickly, I think. So he throws up.
Their scene together was amazing because this is basically what, as a viewer, I was asking Norman. I'm like, bro, give it up, like finish it. You're like delusional. There is no coming back from this.
So that's what and that's what Dylan kind of gives us. He's
like, what are you doing?
He's like, that's not her. What are you doing?
And like, then Norman's like, no. He's like, don't do this now. He's like, don't ruin this for me. Like, we can do it. We can like fake it.
You're ruining everything, Dylan.
And Dylan's like, bro, it's not real though. Like, you have to like wake up.
Yeah, he's like, there's nothing to ruin. Like, it's already been done. Like, she's not alive anymore. Like, get that through your head. And then he's like, there's no going back.
Norman's like, so what do you want me to do? Whatever.
And then he's like, what do you want? Or I think there was a really amazing like little line in that whole argument where he's like, but like, what do you want? He's like, I want something that I can never have.
Because he was like, you want me to go to a psych ward? You want me to get like medication? You want me to be like in a mental like thing and like I'm just gonna be drugged up the whole time? Yeah. And Dylan's like, but I don't know what I want. Yeah. Because what I wanted, it can never be.
Yeah. He's like, I want mom to be alive. I want you to be well. I want all of us. He's like, I want you to meet my daughter. Like, there's all these like dreams.
It really like broke my heart. Like, it broke my heart.
Heartbreaking.
He's like, I wanted to have Christmas with you and mom and like my daughter. Like,
he's like,
that can never happen anymore. So like, well, now I don't even know what I want.
He's like, I don't know what's gonna happen anymore. And it was super heartbreaking. And then I think and then Norman
grabs a fucking knife.
Norman in these moments, we know that Norman kind of gets violent when he feels like he's backed into a corner, which he's literally backed into a corner. He grabs the knife off the sink and he like starts walking toward Dylan. And Dylan's like,
what are you doing?
Bro, put the shit down. He's like, don't do this. And okay, so let's walk through this particular scene. At any moment in time, did you think that Norman would have killed himself?
Maybe after he killed Dylan, though.
Oh, okay.
I felt like he was going for Dylan first.
Because there was at one point in time, he was like, he's holding the knife and he's like getting him toward the wall. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. I just want to be with her. I think that's what he says.
I definitely felt like he could have killed himself, but after he killed Dylan already. Like, not before.
Yeah. And at the same time, though, I remember, like, you have to remember, too, that, like, as much as we want to see this man, like, break down and realize, like, what he had done to his mom, he's
but
too much of a...
But I think he does.
But I think he's too much of a coward to kill himself.
Yeah,
I think that Norman as a person is too much of a coward to kill himself. He is too scared to take that next step. You know, like even the way he was trying to poison the two of them, like him and his mom, like it was very like passive. It was very like, it's like, let's not like shoot each other in the head. But like, it was like, let's fall asleep together and like, let's be done with it. Yeah. So like even this moment where like he has this knife and it's like literally the end of it. I could see it happening, but at the same time I was like, I think he's just gonna die by the hands of Dylan, which is what happens. He lunges,
but like also like Dylan wasn't like acting fast enough. I'm like, Dylan, take out the gun.
Just shoot him. Yeah, please, he pulls out the gun and he's like, yo, let's just do this. And then he lunges
he's like,
at him.
Don't do it. He's like, Norman, don't do this.
He's like, put down the fucking knife.
Because I got a gun.
I'm gonna kill you. And yeah, it happens like super fast. He lunges at him, like puts it right by his head. And then he shoots him at the same, like Dylan shoots Norman at the same time and he falls into his arms. Yeah. And it was really sad.
Yeah.
It's
so then,
really
like, he doesn't die again. Like Norman doesn't die right away, but like they kind of fall to the ground.
Yeah.
And then like these quick like shots
flashes
of like Norman seeing his mom
through the woods. Yeah.
And he's like running to
She's
her.
Like waiting.
And so it's like happening, and Dylan's like, it's okay, whatever.
And he's like, thank you.
He's like, thank you. Like, I'm gonna go see her now, you know?
Yeah, this is what he wanted this whole time. Yeah. So to a degree, and I hope that like Dylan's like heard that too from Norman, because I'm sure he feels like an insurmountable amount of guilt for, you know, getting to where it is and having to be the one who kills him. But at the end of the day, he like thanks him and says like, thank you for doing this.
But I think even for me, I was like, thanks, Dylan. Like you gave him like the ending that he needed.
He needed that.
Like go back to your mom and like be with each other.
Yeah.
Because like there's no other way.
Yeah. So satisfied
because then after Dylan like, and then it shows you like the little like afterwards, and like Dylan goes back home and like Emma's there with the girl, and like that's his ending. And that's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, everything kind of like fell into place exactly how we imagined.
And so he's sort of put this all behind him, I guess. You know, like he's gonna move forward with his life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So at least, you know, at the end of all this, and I think this is why Dylan's character was so important in this whole series, is because you still needed like a light at the end of all of this. And although Norman's was like really tragic and really sad, there was like one little golden thing that came out of all of this. This is really beautiful.
And it's interesting because that being said, that is the one character that was never a part of the original Psycho series. So based on that alone, I think that the writers creating this one extra character has really completely changed the trajectory of the show. You know, like without that one central character for them all to kind of, you know, Dylan he just wasn't Norman's brother. He was also the child of, you know, a brother and a sister. And there are all these like different layers.
Trying to show that, like Dylan. As a contrast, like these two boys had a really messed up childhood. They both did. I'm sure Dylan saw a lot of shit too that Norman saw, but like Dylan didn't end up a psychopath killer. Yeah.
Just because he was sick.
And so does that also lead to the story of like, you know, you choose your own like destiny too. Like you have the ability to choose.
Yeah. I think it's nature though too, right? Like I think at the end of the day, it was always in Norman to fight it, and his mom, Norma, when she was alive, it denied it and ignored it for a period where he wasn't able to come back from it. He was like already a teenager.
It's just sad that like to me, as Norma, I'm like, you went to the wrong kid. Like, you spent too much time on the wrong kid. Yeah. She totally cut out Dylan.
Well, she totally cut out Dylan.
She thought he was like the devil child.
Well, it wasn't that. I think it was more like the reminder of like a really
that's what I mean though. She's like shunning him because of how she had him.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like, he's so beautiful from that. And look what happened to the other one. And like, the other one killed you.
Yeah, and she put like so much energy into him, but she put the wrong energy into Norman too. You know, like, can you imagine like a Dylan character like that, like super obsessive and like super dependent on his mom? So it also shows
like her fault to it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every character in this story is
his own kind of.
Yeah, every character in the story is flawed in a very large way, and I think that's why they ended up where they are in the show. Yeah, I think to your point, just since we're covering everything off, the one outlier or the two outliers that I can really say, like, I love that you mentioned Caleb, because I think that definitely, like, that unsaid storyline kind of never comes to fruition. And also his murderer never kind of like has his final storyline, you know? Chick was weird. Chick and Caleb, I think, were the two characters that I'm like, but why though? Like, why did you come and go? You know, like, I understand more obviously than Chick. Caleb made the most sense because he's the father. But at the same time, I'm just like, but you guys just died. Like, you came in, you had a little tiff. I definitely feel like that whole thing was. I wanted that. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that was a missing piece for me. For sure.
I wanted that ending for Caleb. Like, he still doesn't even know that his dad's dead.
Yeah.
So that to me is a little weird.
And like, if they were to have at least said like, oh yeah, Chick like wrote about it in the book, then we find out.
And I just felt like as a Dylan motivator, it would have been more to kill him. Yeah. To kill Norman, because like, bro, you like ruined my whole family now. Like, you ruined my dad and my mom.
But I love the way that Dylan went into that story. Like, he went into that house without rage. It was more of like a disappointment and sadness and like worry, like still continual worry for Norman.
Yeah, but it wasn't
that's
this
like
true to his
anger,
character.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that I don't know what else to say, but like, other than like, it's really sad that the show's over. Mm-hmm. You know, Freddie Highmore, Vera Farmiga, like, these two amazing actors, just like
they were even saying how like Dylan, like the actor for Dylan, he resonated, like, he just showed his emotions so much this episode without really having a lot of script and dialogue. And they're saying that like, he might be nominated for something too, but I mean, obviously, like, Vera and Freddie, like, they need to ASAP, Rocky.
Yeah, 100%. I think what they did with this this whole show in general, but Freddie Highmore really,
this last season for sure.
Like, I can't even explain. Like,
I can't even tell you a better actor on TV right now. Yeah, like, I don't, because the way that he took over this season was amazing, and
how he portrayed the character, and like, I don't know, like, just everything about it, the way this whole story like went from the beginning to end. And you know, once again, the inside the episode or whatever, at the end of the season, they talk about how they bring it all the way back to Psycho, because I've forgotten by season 5, I've forgotten that Psycho was even like the reason for this show to begin with. You know, the producers talk about it for a minute, and they say like, you know, we knew what we wanted to do, and we knew that we wanted to move beyond the movie.
And imagine if they didn't.
Yeah, imagine. And
that's what I was seeing. I was like, this can go beyond the film. Yeah, because there's so much more richness to these characters that we want to see. And if it ended where the movie ended, like, I would have felt so like, what the hell? Like,
yeah, for sure. The way that they pulled this story together based on the characters in a movie that was made in the 1960s, I think is phenomenal. They really recreated the story of mental illness, and a story of, like I said, a mother and a son, which you never see. And it's this like disgustingly like incestuous relationship that they have that's very twisted and overbearing. Mm-hmm. And it's, as much as it's a retelling of the movie Psycho, it is so original in the way it's been wrapped. And honestly,
they did it perfectly.
Super commendation to the entire anyone involved in this story.
They did this perfectly.
Amazing. Yeah. Such a good series. I hope that if you're listening to our podcast that you have watched the series, but if you haven't, then you freaking gotta watch it, because like, our podcasts don't even like measure to the amount of amazingness that this whole series has been for us. It's been such a ride. I can't believe that it's over.
I know. You know, it's so sad. It's like our first series finale. Recap Rewind.
We powered through it so fast. Like just remembering like going through season 1 through 4 like in a matter of like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, like trying to catch up for season 5, and now that season 5 is over / the whole show is over, like we're done. Now we gotta find something new to watch. Actually, good question. Rewinders, let us know what's on and hot on your radar, and maybe we'll start picking it up. Something new. We're looking for something new to fill this Bates Motel void. So let us know. Tweet us. Don't forget to like and subscribe our videos, and let us know in the comments. And that's it.
That's it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.